This is episode 100 of the Edtech Takeout from Grantwood AEA. My name is Jonathan Wiley, and for our centennial episode, I'm delighted to be here with Mindy Carney.
Just the two of us.
Yes, on episode 100.
Yes, 100.
Finally made it.
We did. We've been talking about this episode for...
Too long.
2 years.
Yes. Once we got into the 90s, which is probably like January this year or something.
Right.
So, a special episode this time. We're going to dispense with news and follow-up and the main course, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're just going to do 100% Tech Nuggets. Yes, Tech Nugget episode. But before we begin...
Okay.
I prepared a little surprise for Mindy.
Oh, God.
She doesn't know about this.
Is it a good surprise, or am I going to roll my eyes at you?
It's linked here on the doc, but you don't have access to it, so it is a surprise.
Okay.
I just thought I'd dig into our past and look back over the 100 episodes that we've done and bring you some history, some stats, some figures. Episode 1 was released on January 7th, 2016.
Really?
Yes. So it's almost 6 years.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was entitled YouTube More Than Just Cat Videos.
Oh, yeah. It's a good name.
It was a good one,
That name still plays, really.
I think it still works.
Yeah,
we could do that one again. Before we started doing news and updates, we had a feature that I completely forgot about called the Top 5 Takeaways.
Oh.
Did you remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all. So what did we name?
Well, let me share you our top 5 takeaways from our very first episode.
Okay.
Our top 5 takeaways were why we started a podcast.
Okay.
Because number 1, anywhere, anytime learning, PD on the go.
Right.
Number 2 was to provide a model for teachers with professional or classroom podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, model, practice what you preach.
Yep.
Number 3, to give some insight into the work we do with schools and tell them some stories of good practice.
Yep.
Number 4, sharing is caring, and it's part of what we do.
Oh, how cute.
And then number 5 was just because it's going to be fun.
Yeah. And it has been fun.
It has been fun.
Say it's been fun.
Yes. So this is a Tech Nugget episode. Do you want to know what our Tech Nuggets were from episode 1?
I do. Are they all dead now?
You may be surprised, actually.
Okay.
1 is probably half dead.
Yeah.
Mine, because I talked about how to generate a link to a Skype call so that anyone can join a mystery Skype with you, regardless of whether they had a Skype account or not.
Oh, all right.
And we only did 2 nuggets back then.
Oh, we only had to come with 1?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Mindy's nugget was about a new Seesaw feature called Seesaw Blogs.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is now almost 6 years old.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. We started this podcast for teachers in Iowa, but over time we garnered listeners from all over the country.
Okay.
Iowa is where most of our listeners are, but California is not far behind.
Really?
Closely followed by Texas, New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Florida, Ohio, and a bunch of other states.
Hello there.
I know.
Yeah.
Globally, the USA accounts for most of our audience.
Sure.
But we also have listeners from Canada.
Okay.
Second place. The UK in third place.
Of course, because, you know.
Australia, France, South Korea, Germany, India, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Hong Kong, the United Arab Emirates, Denmark, Singapore, Spain, the Isle of Man, and a whole bunch more.
Well, all right.
It's a long list.
That is a long list.
Our most downloaded episode, Mindy.
Oh,
what do you think?
It's going to be something that surprises me, I bet. Is it Merge Cube?
I don't think it's going to surprise you. And no, it was not Merge Cube.
We didn't have an episode on Merge Cube, did we?
No, we did not. Episode 63, Visible Learning with John Hattie.
Well, of course.
How could you forget?
That's right. I should have known that.
It is by far our most downloaded episode.
Maybe we need to bring Hattie back.
Our second most popular episode was peak pandemic when we did Zoom versus Meet in episode 77.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Which was just marginally more popular than our number 3 episode, which is productivity tips for teachers. Episode 64. I think we did that with Lynn Kleinmeyer, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And last but not least, I know a lot of podcasters don't talk about their stats, but we've never really done this for stats or ad revenue or fame and fortune or anything like that. So,
Nope.
Yeah. As of today, we've had about 85,000 downloads.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know if that's a big number or not, but that's the number.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Is that good or is that horrible?
As it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we just jump straight into the tech nuggets then?
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I have a list of them. I will start with, this one is, so one thing I will say is when I was going through tech nuggets, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not sharing ones that we've already shared before. I did not remember this one. I'm going to go way down to the bottom of my list.
Okay.
To Radio Garden. Does this sound familiar?
I don't think so.
Okay, don't click on it. Don't click on it.
Okay. Is it going to start playing automatically?
It will. Okay, so what I think is really cool about Radio Garden is that you can tune into radio anywhere in the world. And it's like kind of connected like Google Map, right? So you can like just spin around the world and choose a spot, plop yourself down and listen to radio that's happening.
Really?
Yeah. And I was thinking about how neat it would be for students in foreign languages to be able to listen to the radio in other places because formal language learning is not, if people are trying to listen to English, they're formal English training and then listening to what we actually say here in the United States. There's a lot of things about our language that don't make any sense.
Correct.
And so I thought it would be kind of a nice way to have students be immersed in the pop culture of, a place that they might be studying or a language they might be studying. So I just thought it was, I don't know. I was like oh, this is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. It would be the difference if you listen to something like NPR and you were a foreign student, then you would get maybe a more proper English. But if you listen to a local radio station, it would be much more colloquial.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Okay.
Well, I'll go with another listening type of nugget there.
All right.
I found something recently called Hark.
Okay.
This
Hark
is
the Herald Angels sing?
I should put a little soundbite in there, right?
Yes.
Hark Audio is a new app which is available for iOS or Android, and it's a podcast curation app. So what they do is they take little clips of different podcasts and put it together into one podcast episode. So you might get maybe chefs talking about their favorite dishes.
All right.
And it might be from 9 different podcasts, but different chefs. And they're little 2-3 minute clips they put together. And it makes a 40-minute episode podcast. And you can listen to all sorts of different new podcasts at once. I got one, they had one on nonfiction books. There's one, a crash course on NFTs. You just tell them the kind of things you're interested in, and they put something together. It's called a Hark list, like a playlist, but a Hark list, where they collect podcasts together, and you can sample a little buffet of podcasts.
Well, and I think it really opens up the door to experiencing podcasts that, there's so many podcasts, right? We've joked forever about how everyone has a podcast. And so it could give you the opportunity to check out a podcast that you wouldn't even have found, or listened to or whatever. So,
I think so too.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. All right. Okay. So this morning, I was, of course, just this morning prepping for this podcast.
Because that's how Mindy does it.
That's how I do my thing.
Yeah.
And so I was with my kids. So I have a 4th grader and a 6th grader, and they plopped down with me at 7 a.m. at the kitchen table. And I'm like, what's happening in your lives right now? Talk to me about your tech nuggets. So my daughter, who's a 4th grader, is really into creating her own emojis right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. So she found, and I'm just calling it Annie's Emoji Maker. I think it's just Emoji Maker is the name of it. I have a link to the app. She's able to create her own apps or emojis, but she can also animate them. So it will allow you to make a move and whatever. And so her and her friends are in this little text, iMessage group. And so they send each other their emojis and they have a competition and they vote on whose emoji is the best and so on and so forth. So that's an app. I did find an Emoji Maker website. It's not the same, but I also have that linked in because I know not everybody has the opportunity for students to have apps. So I wanted to find a website too. This Emoji Maker, I made a little emoji and it was all out of food, although I guess his hair is the poop emoji, but
ooh, yeah.
But just an opportunity for kids to, and we're talking so much about social emotional awareness right now and things like that, that I thought we should, and we've talked about emoji makers in the past, but maybe it was a good time to revisit some of those opportunities for kids to illustrate feelings and emotions. Plus, it's super fun.
Genius.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't plan this, Mindy, but I'm going to stick with that creative theme.
Okay.
And talk about Adobe Creative Cloud Express.
You are, huh? I'm glad you're going to talk about it because I want to know what's happening there.
Well, I don't have all the skinny on what's going down here, but I know a little. And by the time you listen to this podcast, you guys will probably know more than we do. But just the other day, Adobe rebranded Adobe Spark to make it Adobe Creative Cloud Express. Now, if you go to express.adobe.com, you can log in and you'll get something that looks a lot like Canva. Not too dissimilar to what Adobe Spark Post used to be, but they've rebranded it. They made a brand new website with new pictures and icons and themes and templates and all that good stuff. So Adobe is upping their game a little bit. I read an article somewhere that said they noticed an increase in non-professionals using their software. Because normally you think of Adobe products, it's like pros, graphic designers, and video makers and stuff. But and a number of non-professionals using their software, so they're trying to make it more friendly for some of those people.
Interesting.
And if you have an Adobe Spark for Education account, you should get an automatic upgrade, I believe, to this new one to unlock the other features. So you can pay for this if you want, but they do a lot for free too.
Yes. So I was looking at my phone because you said Canva, and I just saved something that I don't know that I knew that Canva could do. Have you been in Canva? I think you're in Canva a lot more than I am, but they have like these animated bits and pieces kind of in Canva.
Yes.
Did I see that you can create your own now? Have you seen that?
I have not seen that. No.
So I did see there was something about like people were sketchnoting in Canva now. It was kind of all over Twitter just in the last couple of days.
I did see that.
And then I saw that I couldn't tell if they were adding their own animations in or if they were just adding those animations. But I had never thought about Canva as a sketchnoting tool before, which that was not one of my tech nuggets. But when you said about Canva, I'm like, oh yeah, I just saw that today. Different way to use Canva that I hadn't thought about.
Could be an interesting kind of mixed media thing where you're sketching it out, but then you also just throw in the old icon or something. Yeah. All right, so that was not my tech nugget. I will give you a different one. How about, oldie but a goodie? This is tradition. I feel like I have to say this or it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be an end-of-year EdTech Taker episode without...
That is correct. Google Santa Tracker. Are we still checking that out? I pulled it up today because I always feel like, I have to always share this at the end of the year. And my daughter said to me, oh my gosh, I haven't even looked at that this year yet, because she was one that always hopped on it and played the different games and messed around with it. So I thought, I'm going to look this up and make sure it's still kicking, and it sure is. So Google Santa Tracker, nice way to kind of count down through Christmas break or to your winter break. Has lots of different activities for kids to work on. Probably my daughter is still into it. So maybe K4, preschool to 4th grade, somewhere in there. So
I like it. Google Santa Tracker.
It's so fun.
Good on you, Google, for keeping the Christmas season going,
yes, right?
Yeah. Okay, so also as part of this episode, we managed to rope in a few of our colleagues to do a virtual tech nugget for us. We have some pre-recorded nuggets from our teammates. So why don't we start with Lynn Kleinmeyer, who has got a Google hack for us.
Hey friends. Okay, so the tech nugget I have for you is actually not a tech nugget. It's a hack. It's an oldie but a goodie, but one I use all the time. So what hack am I talking about? Template preview, my friends. I think we've all been in a situation where we want to share a doc with someone, for example, but we want them to make their own copy. Well, if you use the forced copy hack, the problem is that people don't get to see what they're making a copy of and whether or not they've made copies of it already. So instead, I'm going to encourage you to use the template preview hack. How does it work? Well, you navigate your way to the shareable link of a doc or a slide deck, for example, and clear at the end, you will see it says /edit. Replace the word edit with template /preview. Grab that link, and that's what you're actually going to share with your end user. When they navigate their way to that link, what they're going to see is a preview of whatever doc or slide deck that you're wanting them to make a copy of so that they can choose whether or not they actually want to make that copy. And if they so choose, then up in the top right-hand corner, they will see a blue button that says Use Template. That's what they'll click on to make their own copy of whatever you've shared. The added bonus is that when they click that button and it makes their own copy, it gives it its authentic name as opposed to saying copy of. So it's kind of a win all the way around, my friends. Template preview for the win.
Oh, that was a really good one. Thanks for sharing that, Lynn.
All right, so let's keep it going then. I will do a tech nugget called Toucan.
Okay.
Maybe I should have hooked onto this one after you did your radio garden.
Oh.
But we can see some parallels here, I think. So Toucan is a free Chrome extension. And if you are trying to learn a new language, or you have students maybe who are new to a specific language that they're starting, Toucan could be an interesting pick for you. It's a Google extension, and once you install it, what it will do is randomly replace certain words in a website with the language that you are trying to learn.
Oh.
So if you're trying to learn Spanish, you'll find certain words in the English text that you are reading are turned into a Spanish word. And so you try and learn a little bit through context clues about what the word is, although you can hover over any of the words and see what the English equivalent is. There's a little speaker as well that will pronounce the word for you in the language you're trying to learn. So my wife does a lot of Duolingo at home. She does French. Oh. And she says she's much better at reading than speaking. So that would be the kind of thing I think would be good for her, but could be an interesting one for your students too. It supports several languages: Spanish, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Arabic, Hebrew, and Hindi. Mm-hmm. So probably something on there that you guys could take a look at.
For sure. And you know that in the United States, we call that a toucan, not a toucan.
You call it a what?
It's a toucan.
A toucan?
That's what that bird is.
Like one can toucan?
It's a toucan.
It's a toucan.
No, it's a so for those of you that are wondering how to spell this and aren't going to look at the show notes, it's toucan. Toucan. Unless you're in the UK, in which
Toucan
case it's a toucan. Oh, that's funny. I kept thinking is it? Nope, there's the bird. It's a toucan. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Moving on.
All right. Fine. Well, to piggyback off of your Chrome extension, let's share Amber Bridges' Tech Nugget, which is also a Chrome extension.
So I came across someone that was using technology in a different way that I had never tried. So I thought that this might be Tech Nugget worthy. What I'm talking about is the Grammarly app has a tone detector in it. And what that does is, as someone is composing an email, a little emoji will pop up on the screen. And what it tells you is what is the tone that you're giving off with the language that you're using within your email. So are you coming off confident and friendly, or are you coming off in a negative way? And in the times that we're in, where we're not always face-to-face, how we say things, written, and how we write these things is ever more important. So I thought those are kind of a really interesting idea to monitor your own email writing habits through the use of the Grammarly tone detector.
I really like Grammarly.
Yeah.
I have to say that I did break down and purchase the paid version of Grammarly.
Surprised to hear you say that.
But you know what? It was like half price on Black Friday.
Okay.
50, maybe even 55% off. And I thought, well, now is the time to do it. 55% off is like less than half price. So I really enjoy Grammarly and gives me lots of good suggestions.
Okay. All right. Let me throw something different. I did have another Chrome extension, but let's do something different. So like I said, I was talking to my kids this morning. Annie shared her Emoji Maker. I looked at my son, who's a 6th grader. He's new to middle school this year. And I said, what are you guys doing what's going on with you right now? And he goes, well, how about SmartPass? And I said, SmartPass, what's that? To me, in my head, I thought LastPass. I'm like, oh, he's going to give me a password protector. This is boring, Tate. No, so SmartPass is a way for you to sign out digitally from your class. So what he does is he puts it, so the teacher creates the roster.
Yeah.
He signs in with his username and requests a pass and how much time he needs to go. So like if he has to go to the bathroom or something, he will request a pass and say like, I need 5 minutes, and sends that to the teacher through this digital SmartPass.
Wow.
I had never seen this before.
I didn't. I had no recollection that this existed.
Yeah. And so I thought we've had I've actually had, I bet 3 or 4 requests. I mean, only 3 or 4.
How many
probably.
times have we done things like that with like a Google form?
Yeah,
or
I'm like,
something?
well, you could do a Google form, and then you have to. So I thought, oh, well, here we go. Here's that solution that people have been looking for. SmartPass.
Yep, it's one of those things that, somebody's $1 million idea.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. All right, so how about we go down to, I don't know, I'm looking down the list here. How many more of these should we do or not do? I'm going to go down to the bottom of my list, because I know Mindy's already been down to the bottom of her list.
Yep.
There's no real set order here. I'm going to do Transpose.Video.
Okay.
So this is one for music teachers, and I know we don't often do a lot for music teachers or have a lot of tech nuggets for music teachers, and that is 100% due to our ignorance of what that looks like.
Yep.
But this handy little Chrome extension will let you transpose, which is change the pitch of music and the speed of the music, or loop music, and it works on YouTube and Vimeo and other types of apps that play audio. So I think this is handy because, if you have a student who wants to play a tune or play along to a tune, but their instrument or their vocal range is not within the range of that song, you can transpose it. You can change the key of that music so that it's better pitch for them. You can slow the tempo down so that it's a better speed for them. You can set markers and jump directly to certain points in the audio. So definitely a good one for music teachers. You might not be a music teacher, but if you send this to your music teacher,
they'll love you forever.
You will have a friend for life.
Yes,
I know.
Right.
And it's completely free.
Which also reminds me, do you remember way back when we used to sing songs at the beginning of when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like we used to make each other rap or something.
I did find a video of me using an auto rap video app where I said Maryla has a little lamb, and it turned into a rap song. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh.
And you and Amber were doing like Flavor Flav stuff?
Yes, that's right. We had it was like a pop cultural reference that you weren't necessarily familiar with, right? And
okay, I'll insert that just for nostalgia right here.
Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was, her fleece was, her fleece was. Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was, her fleece was, her fleece was. Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was, her fleece was, her fleece was. Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was, her fleece was. Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Sure to. Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was white as snow, and everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't that fun?
It was fun. All right, so I actually have a tech nugget that goes after Bridget's tech nugget. Should we share hers now?
Let's do Bridget's tech nugget.
My favorite Edtech nugget seems to be a favorite Edtech nugget for Chrome. Mote, capital M-O-T-E, is a Chrome extension that was listed as one of the top Chrome extensions of 2021. If you've never heard of Mote, Mote is a way to record your voice and allow for voice notes, instructions, and feedbacks embedding into Google Apps, such as Google Classroom, Gmail, Slides, Forms. There's even something called sticky notes. What I have found as an educator to be most valuable with this extension is the ability for me to personalize and build relationships with my students using the Mote extension so they can actually hear my voice. It allows for accessibility. It offers the ability for students to use transcriptions, translations, and also give me voice feedback with using a Mote extension on their end as well. They don't need an account, so it's easy, fast. Definitely check it out.
All right, so to piggyback off of Bridget's Mote tech nugget, I just happened to come across a template that used Mote with a daily journal for younger elementary students. And knowing that Bridget had was going to share Mote, I thought this would be a nice add-on to that. It's just and I don't know, I would maybe change some of the questions that were in that template to make it more about like what was something that worked with my learning today or something like that. But there is a nice little template here to have kids kind of reflect about their day. There is also a video that shows you exactly how to use that template with Mote. So I actually found this tech nugget on Twitter, of course, and I can't remember who shared it, but it looks like the owner of this daily journal template is someone called John Neal. I feel like I saw this maybe from Matt Miller or something like that. So it was shared by someone else on Twitter, but it might be something just to take a look at if you're kind of wondering how that Mote looks when it's laid on top of a Google slide. This could give you an idea of how you might use that with kids and actually give you a good visual of what that looks like.
All right, so I have a lot of extensions on my list today, but I'm going to do one that's not an extension, just to give me a break from extensions.
Sure.
Something different that I came across recently, and I think it may have been indirectly you who put me onto this.
Really?
So you were talking about someone on our previous episode about the created something, and I looked them up on Twitter, and I thought, should I follow that person?
Yeah.
And I looked on their profile, and they had a web address there that said Solo.to/their name.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I clicked on it, and I saw this kind of one-page website that had all the links for all the things that person did.
Yeah.
I thought, what is this Solo.to? So I looked it up, and it's one of those link in bio tools.
Yeah.
Like you could have one link to roll them all. So you could put this on your Instagram, you could put this on Twitter, you could put it on Facebook, you could put it on all your profiles anywhere. And it lets you create a page where you can link to all your social media accounts, as well as add links to anything else that you do, maybe a classroom website or a Google group you're part of, or any other things that you want to share, or maybe link to things that you have created and done online. So it's one bio link for everything. And it is free, but if you want to upgrade and get a couple of nice things like the dark mode or unlimited links, then you only have to pay $12 a year. Mm-hmm. So not too bad for the personal account, but it's called Solo.to, and I have started to use it now. So you can see mine at Solo.to/Jonathan Wiley.
Shameless plug. All right. So should we take another tech nugget from someone on our team?
Let's take a nugget from someone on the team. How about we bounce over to Beth and see what she has for us?
My favorite current tech nugget is the ability to group tabs in the Chrome browser. I tend to be a tab queen. I have lots and lots of tabs open at a time. This allows me to group tabs and to name that group. And it's really easy to do. So when you have a tab open, if you right click on it, the option Add Tab to Group comes up. You can create a new group and give it a name, and then just drag tabs that belong in that group together. The other thing you can do with tab groups, if I click on the name of the tab group, it shrinks it down. So all I see is the names of each of the groups across the top of my browser, which makes it really slick. So my browser then turns into more like a to-do list. I have a math group. I have a blended group. I have a coursework group. The other really great thing you can do with tab groups, if I right-click on the name of the tab group, I can also move the group to a new window. So if I have a group of tabs that I'm using to teach a course or to share with a teacher, I can create a new window, and the only thing in that window is the tabs that I'm working with right at the same time. I love the feature to be able to group tabs and name them in Chrome.
You know, I love Beth's nugget because I feel like no matter who I talk to, they're always talking about how many tabs they have open. I feel like that really helps you manage your tabs so that you're a little bit more effective and efficient in your browser window.
I agree, but I'm going to ask you the question I think I already know the answer to.
What's that?
Do you use Chrome tab groups?
No,
I don't either.
But I know Beth does, and you
I
can
know she
see.
does,
So,
yeah.
like in her window, you can see where she's got groups of tabs in her tabs.
I think for the people that it works for,
Yeah,
it is perfect.
It makes sense,
It's exactly
right?
what they need. I think before I started using it, I might need them to do that feature where they would save the tab groups.
Yeah.
So that if I closed a window or something,
Yeah.
or Chrome crashed or whatever, then I would get everything back.
Yeah.
But
Which isn't there something like Tab Cloud or something like that does that?
there are other
Yeah.
extensions for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it won't keep them in the groups? Per se, I don't think so.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good old Chrome tab groups.
Okay, I have something that's not really tech, but it is nugget. How about that? So I saw that I think it's Genevieve Villegas shared a praise folder. And this was, I don't know if it was necessarily in the education lens, but it was about creating she said like a desktop folder, but you could certainly do this in your Drive, where if you receive an email or something that is telling you what a great job you've done, to always keep record of that, so that if you ever need to go back and see like the good work that you've done or the kind words that people have shared with you, if you're having a bad day, you can go in and take a look at that. And I thought that's a really nice...
Yeah, I like that.
And it made me think, I talk to so many teachers right now that are, there's just a lot going on going on out there these days. And so it might be a nice way to kind of ground yourself again. Like, this is why I do this hard work, because I get these messages from past students or from these parents. And so it's not really a tech thing, but I thought it was a nugget, maybe something you could try as like a New Year's resolution. Like, starting in January, I'm going to try and keep track of the good feedback I get or the accolades I receive.
I like it. I think, like you said, it's a social, emotional health thing for adults right now. People need that little lift just to keep them going and remind themselves that, you're doing the good work. You're fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to my library of extensions that I have here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pick on Modern Wikipedia.
Okay.
Which is a Chrome extension that does one thing, really, and that redesigns what Wikipedia looks like.
Oh, nice.
And it does it in a kind of an interesting way, because not only does it make the Wikipedia website look nicer, but you can also adjust the font that is on there. You can adjust the line spacing. You can adjust the background and make it into a dark mode. So it's kind of like that immersive reader type of functions and those features where you have lots of accessibility options for those. So line spacing, and you can choose like how wide each column is going to be. So just lets you personalize Wikipedia and make it look exactly the way you want it to. It is 100% free.
Nice.
It keeps track of your history while you're on Wikipedia, so you don't have to hold down the back button and see all the pages you've been to. Yeah. And lots of great, editing controls. Everything that you would normally do on Wikipedia are all still there.
Well, all right then.
Available for Firefox as well as Microsoft
thank goodness
Edge.
for that. Well, good. As long as it's Microsoft Edge accessible, then I'm in.
Good. I knew that'd please you.
All right, we have one more tech nugget from our teammate Corey Rogers. Let's share that one now.
Hi, I've got an oldie but a goodie tech nugget for you. Does anyone remember If This Then That? You can find it online at IFTTT.com. I've been working with the special ed teacher that was looking for a way to send daily reminders to teachers with a link to a Google form to collect student behavior data. She wanted an easy button. She didn't want to have to sit down every morning and type that email and send it. Well, you can do that with if this, then that. So when you go to the site, you can set up lots of applets, but the one we did was if it's a certain date and time, then send an email reminder with a link to the Google form to the teachers. You can set it and forget it. I think this is a great way if you're a special ed teacher to automate some of those reminders you need to send to teachers. If you're a teacher that's seeking feedback from students, you can set this up to happen monthly with a Google form to find out from kids, how is class going? What are your needs? Or if you need periodic reminders to remember to be a human. So whether it's personal things like remembering to pick your kids up from a meeting, or if it's work-related items that are intermittent, but you still need to do them. For me, that might be mileage. Make sure you go check out If This, Then That.
So what I love about Corey's is that she really found a creative solution to how to schedule out a specific email.
Yes. That
wasn't going to work just for schedule send. Like she really, we were kind of watched her think through this and figure it out and collaborate as she found that solution. And so I think it's a really creative way. And I think we even talked about if for a long time, but there are some really cool things in there. It reminded me like, hey, I should go in there and just see what are they called? Applets? What are they called? When you do the little...
They used to be called recipes, but I think
yeah.
they're applets now or something. Yeah.
So I think it's always interesting to think about those things. So good job, Corey Rogers.
Yeah, and I think it's exactly how Corey's brain works as well. She's got that very logical thinking and things. So yeah, I forget that tool exists, but I'm going to have to try and remember and go back and see it.
Yeah. All right, I got another one. This one comes from Matt Miller. I feel like this is maybe an older idea of his, but I don't know that I've ever seen it. He has a digital lesson planner. Have you seen this?
Where you
put your lesson plans into a Google form, which then you can have auto-credit to you in a one-pager. The other thing that's nice about this, I think, is that it kind of creates this lesson plan library for you. So it could all show up then in a spreadsheet, and you'd be able to access any lesson plans that you had created in the past, which I thought was kind of a neat idea that I hadn't really thought about before. The only issue I see with this is that sometimes when you're putting a bunch of text into a Google form, it gets kind of clunky, I guess. You know what I mean? Like you can't see all of your text and it's hard to go back and reread what you've written. But I thought it was kind of an interesting way to keep track. I also thought it would be nice to be able then to go in and add reflection notes after that lesson. Or the other thing I thought about, it'd be nice to have those like essential questions written into that lesson plan so you don't have to always be thinking about what would be good questions to ask during this lesson. They would be there and it would help you remember some of those misconceptions students have that you might forget from one year to the next. So I thought this was an interesting idea, but I don't think it's a new one from Matt Miller, but it might be one to check out. I don't think it's for everyone, certainly, but I think there might be people out there who be like, oh, I had never thought about using Google Forms that way.
The power of this is in the structure you put together in that form. You know, do you have like space, like you said, for essential questions and what your standards are and, you know, your differentiation activities you're going to put in? If you have all that in there, I think, this could be a really interesting, powerful tool. And you've got a record in a spreadsheet of like all the things, and you could just change the tab that everything goes into after every quarter or something.
Yep.
Okay, so I like that idea. I hadn't seen that one before, but... Okay, I'm going to give you not a 2-for-1,
okay,
not a 3-for-1.
Oh boy, okay.
I'm going to give you 20 nuggets in one link.
Okay.
Because I started to think that I've seen a number of different like edtech companies and things like Canva and like Adobe that will do things like give teachers a premium account version of something that people would normally have to pay for. Okay. So I put a little wakelet together of 20 different edtech services that are giving teachers stuff for free.
Okay.
and you can see these on here. Maybe by the time you listen to this, there'll be 21 on there or 22 but Canva, Adobe, Brilliant, Epic, WooClap, Loom, Headspace, all of these people are giving out free stuff for teachers, free accounts for teachers that you do not have to pay for. Other people do. So check
As I
this.
just thought, I said,
Yeah. Check this link out, and you can take advantage of all these yourself.
Yeah. Are you going to keep adding to this? Is this like an ever...
I will add to this as soon as I find them. There's a link at the bottom there that says, if you find something else that you think should be on this list, let me know. So
nice.
I put my email down there, and you can just shoot me an email, and I will add it to this list.
Good one. Okay, let's see. I'm going to share this one because I think it's actually it's kind of like a 3-pointer here. First of all, I think maybe this comes from Stephanie Howell, who is also, I believe, a listener, because I've had some communication with Stephanie over the years here and there. She has been sharing some things for, I feel like December is always kind of a time where we do like this advent calendar of Edtech and whatever. Yes. So Stephanie's always really great, I think, about sharing stuff out that she creates. So one of the things that I saw was an Edgy protocol. So that will be a twofer here for you. Edgy protocols, if you haven't looked at Edgy protocols, you certainly should. Check those out. They're things that you could use in your classroom. They have templates that go along with them. This was a new one to me because I don't dig into Edgy protocols quite like I dig into thinking, the Project Zero thinking routines. But it's called Thin Slides. And what I've seen, and actually I saw Craig Badura, I think, was using this too, is that students are each given one slide. They have to put on one word and one image. And it's around some sort of topic.
Okay.
So I think this template that I have, they have named it Winter Break Escapade, and it's for use after you come back from your winter break, and students have to respond by sharing their winter break in one image and one word. And then they go through and they only have 15 seconds to talk about their winter break, and the image and the word help you represent that. So it's a nice, I think, way to tie kids together, to build community. You could think about it as a, SEL. And I really liked it a lot. And it's there for you to use. It's just a template. You can take it yourself and use it as you will. The nice thing about it, too, is that we are so pressed for time always with our students that I thought one image, one word, that's quick.
Yeah,
students
definitely.
get 15 seconds. Put the timer on, everybody gets 15 seconds. And so I thought it was a nice, quick way to, kind of break the ice with your kids and get them talking to one another to start your class.
Good little icebreaker.
It is. Or it could be, you could do it more around academics of some sort and do it at the end of your class and check in with how, kids could share an image about how they felt the class went today.
Yeah. Stephanie is at Mrs. Howell24 on Twitter. If you want to look her up, we'll put her Twitter handle in the show notes.
Yeah, and to give Stephanie another shout out, she has something else. This is another one of my tech nuggets, but I'll just say too, she has, with blended learning, we've been talking always a lot about playlists and choice boards and things like that. Sometimes that's too much for students. One thing that she has been sharing out is a this or that board. So it's just about choosing one thing or the other thing. And she's got lots of opportunities and ways for you to take a look and think about that too. So maybe we can add that link as well as 2 nuggets in 1.
I'm more than happy to do that. Well, speaking of nuggets, I do have a podcast confession for the listeners, but I think it's something we've said before.
All right.
Mindy and I do sometimes struggle to think about tech nuggets.
Have we mentioned that?
Have we mentioned that at all?
I think I have, yeah.
Tech nuggets are popular with the listeners, and when we do these tech nugget episodes, people say, "Oh, you should do more of those." I was like, "All right," and we're like, "Wow, they take the longest to find things to do." So I tried to make it a personal goal of mine to get better at finding tech nuggets, and I thought I needed some accountability for that. So what I ended up doing on the side was putting together a little newsletter called Tech Nuggets. It comes out every week, and it will have whatever I find on the internet that is kind of interesting in that week. A list of tools and apps and extensions that you can use for teaching and learning, free stuff, just things that I find that pique my interest. So I send that out every Monday morning. If you are interested, I'll put a link in the show notes, but you can get to it at bit.ly/tech nuggets. Maybe you will get a preview on a future podcast nuggets from the newsletter, because that's where all mine came from today. If you didn't like what you saw today, don't subscribe to the newsletter. Otherwise, if you like some of those, you'll see them on those newsletters. All right, so I think that brings us to the end of the Tech Nugget extravaganza.
Oh, yeah. Nuggety, nuggety, nuggety.
Yes. It wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't hear that, I guess, right?
It's been a while since I've said that.
I think it has.
Say it all the time, yes.
You did used to say it a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do a little compilation of all the times you've said that as an outtake on the show.
Yes.
All right, so this is going to be our last episode of 2021.
That's right.
We will be back in 2022. We have at least 2 episodes in the can that we're thinking about doing. So, but if you have ideas, suggestions, hit us up on Twitter. We would love to hear what you would like to hear more of in 2022.
Okay.
And we will do our best to research and bring you that knowledge. So until next time.
This has been the EdTech Takeout. We hope it hit the spot.